On this episode of We're No Damn Experts, Rebecca and Madi try something new as they share two memorable stories from Great Falls champions about adventure in our base camp.
Best damn podcast, the best damn town. You want to get up, get ready to get down. With its big white sky and the wild river Thames. If you want to go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm Rebecca Ingham,
I'm Madi Sella Hazard.
and we're No Damn Experts. Today, we're trying something new. So this is really based on the fact that we hang out here in the base camp at 101st Avenue North, and people come in and they share their stories with us about, 30 years ago I came into Great Falls and we did this thing and it was so awesome. Where's that, where is that today? Is that still there? And it's like, man, that is a really cool story. And then we'll be out in the community visiting with folks and they'll say, oh my God, did I tell you about this time? And then you hear these stories and you're like, oh my goodness. So it's really fun for us because we get to hear other people's experiences in our community. So we thought, let's capture some of these stories.
Yeah, and the stories don't warrant an entire hour episode because, hey, if they were, we wouldn't be talking to these people because that's a lot of yakking.
It's a long attention span you have to give someone.
It is. So we came up with this idea, and then when we shared our Sluice Boxes episode on Facebook, we asked if anyone had ever been whitewater kayaking at Sluice Boxes down the Belt Creek, and we got a bite. And it's from someone we know that was mentioned on a previous episode with Mats and Jolene from the Kellergeist. So Roland came in.
He did, and we sat down with him in the podcast studio, and he shared with us his story of kayaking in Sluice Boxes State Park. And he's got some great recommendations for that and some odd experiences that happened.
So we're going to play this recording now, and then we're going to join you after you hear about the ferocious beast that he claims he saw. I don't see a photograph from it, so
I'm not going to call him a liar. I've never known Roland to lie.
I called him a liar on this recording.
I know you did, but he's not.
The first time I meet the man and he tells me this, I'm going to got some doubt. So enjoy the recording with our short conversation with Roland.
Yeah, so like when I first started kayaking, I bought a kayak and then got into it and just about tipped myself over and scared myself.
Oh, we're good. Okay.
Yeah.
When did you start kayaking?
Long time ago.
Oh, he's not going to date himself. Rebecca, you don't date yourself. Why would Roland?
No. Well, I didn't know if it was like recent or in the
Okay.
past. I didn't need at the age of 12.
So we'll do a little preface. We had Mats and Jolene on the podcast, and they talked about this amazing friend, photographer, outdoor adventure, musician, you name it, he does it, Roland. So it's the first time I heard your name. And then Rebecca and I did an episode on Sluice Boxes State Park, and we shared it on our Facebook. And we're begging for engagement every time we share our podcasts. And we're like, if you have been whitewater rafting at Sluice Boxes State Park, we want to hear from you. But if you haven't been to Sluice Boxes State Park, you want to hear us. And Roland commented on our Facebook page. We got engagement, okay?
That's all that matters.
Pretty much. And we follow up. So I was like, email us. Mind you, sorry I was a little delayed in my emails, but here you are. And when I asked you, you said you didn't take your camera when you whitewater rafted in Sluice Boxes State Park.
Those boats are a little bit small. Okay. They're like 6 feet. In fact, you almost have to be a paraplegic to even get into them.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
So is it like one person per thing or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the first time I went down to sluice boxes, I had just basically started kayaking, and I went with a group of people. So anyway, I went with a group of people, and I would get the butterflies every time I went because it was so new, and the idea of this big rushing water. And that day was a particularly cold kind of day, and it was overcast. And I had a dry top, which is basically a top that keeps the water off of you. It has little gaskets that go around your neck and your sleeves. But I only had a short wetsuit. So that's okay. I'll be in the boat probably most of the time. However, I was not in the boat most of the time.
Did you fall out?
I did several times in the sluice boxes.
Because I'm just picturing maybe like water rushing onto the boat instead of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this was like in April or
Oh my
maybe
God.
early May. So
Oh my God.
That's when we tell people not to do that.
Well,
The
exactly,
spring runoff.
in fact, so we put in at a lot of people when they do the sluice boxes later in the season will put in at Logging Creek and go down.
Okay.
We put in at Monarch
Oh my
and went
God.
the whole thing. It only really took us about 4 hours because the water was up
Swift.
and running. Yeah. But when we hit the entrance rapid, there's a big rock right there. And I believe it was probably that first time there was a Coleman canoe wrapped around that rock.
Oh no.
So it always seems to be a Coleman canoe. It's never, a Mad River or something like that.
Don't get a Coleman if you're going to do this.
Great. No, we're going to get
It's like
engagement from them.
Some type of magnet there.
So we totally had to go around that thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I getting myself into?
And at this point, you can't really say, I'm done. I'm
No, not at all.
going to pull out and walk the rest of the way.
So, first time whitewater rafting there, but have you ever
Kayaking.
kayaking?
Yeah.
Have you ever done it before?
Well, I had done some other whitewater before, like below the dam,
Okay.
right here at Black Eagle Dam. There's a nice little wave that you can, what we call park and play, so you can go down there and play and then just leave the same place. You don't necessarily go downriver.
Okay.
Of course, that's kind of practice for when you get into the water. You kind of know what to do. And I kind of knew what to do, and I kind of didn't. So, yeah, when I got out of the water, too, my legs were like as red as my hair.
I bet.
Used to be.
Guess he's wearing a cap, so we can't tell.
But anyway, it was quite an ordeal. And the group of characters I went with, there's a guy named Ed Klein that I went with. And when I first met Ed Klein, it was, I swore he didn't like me. I mean, he was just a gruffalo.
Oh,
Okay.
I mean, he
Okay.
was really tough on the outside, but once you got to know him, he was just
a
just
softie
a teddy
scared
bear.
of a
Yeah.
mouse. Yeah.
But I guess he used to be a drill sergeant.
Ooh.
So he did come across that way.
You didn't know how to drop that demeanor.
Yeah.
How long had you known Ed before he said, "Hey, why don't you come whitewater kayaking
Oh, I'd
with us?"
met Ed a couple times prior to that.
Okay.
And same thing. So-
Well, I'm gonna
I would
break
have
it.
questioned.
I have to break it to you, Roland. Ed still doesn't like you because he invited you whitewater kayaking in spring runoff time.
yeah, I think they were trying to kill me, but
You survived. That's
So
the
this
important part.
This went from like a fun adventure to this podcast is now like I was almost murdered.
How I-
my
how I
favorite
survived
almost
my
murder. Yeah.
oh, I've had a few of those actually. Different
Did one of
rivers.
them happen to be some type of march towards the Smith River?
Oh, well, that's a whole nother story. The death march you're referring to, yeah.
So you and Ed and how many other people went with you on this?
There was probably about 6 or 7 of us
Okay.
that I remember.
Would
Did
that be a big group or a small group?
A small group. And they
Okay.
were all kayakers. And there's no club. Canoeists
Right.
have clubs, kayakers don't.
Okay. And did they have
Kayakers
the,
are like snowboarders, they're more
Independent.
independent, yeah.
Freestyle, free
they're
spirits.
so cool.
So I also was with John Shukai, who used to be the owner of Bighorn Wilderness before Chris bought it.
Okay.
Okay.
And Dexter Hale, I think, was with us also.
So some seasoned people.
People
Yeah.
know what they're doing.
Right.
Did they have the similar experience that you did of falling
No,
off multiple
no.
times?
No, that was all mine.
And I don't remember. Did you do it more than once? I know you fell off more than once.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, after that, I've done it quite a few times.
All right.
In total on your first trip, how many times did you fall into the water?
Twice.
Oh, that's really good.
And it's really, once you get past, so we, like I said, we went from Monarch down. So then once you get past Riceville Bridge and you start getting actually into the sluice boxes itself, now you passed all the rapids and big rocks. And then it seems like it's pretty level. I mean, it's pretty benign. It seems like it. But there's a lot of undercuts and stuff. And so what happens is when the water gets turbulent like that, it aerates so much that you almost start to lose buoyancy in certain spots.
Oh. So that's a new technical
And
term.
there's weird little eddies in there that go back and forth. And so you have to be very loose to make sure that you don't tip over.
If I fell in once, I wouldn't fall in again because I would have gotten out. Because I think it's just an amazing accomplishment to get back in.
Right.
Because I've never been able to do that.
Well, I was pretty good at rolling. In fact, they would call me rolling.
Roland.
Okay. I'm gonna sing a Limp Bizkit song to you.
No.
But yeah, a couple of those just got me, and I, like I said, the weird turbulence, those weird eddies and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tried to come back up, and it pushed me right back down again. And, yeah, so I had to
So
swim.
clearly be cautious. How many miles total? You said 4 hours, but how long? I mean, how many miles?
How many river miles? I really don't know.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna need you to take a GoPro
But I know that
next time.
some people will do it in like August in inner tubes, and they'll put halfway there at Logging Creek, and it'll take them up to 12 hours. So
Well, I can see floating raft, nothing propelling you, just sitting there in a tube waiting for the world to carry you down. That would make sense. That would be more my
I
style.
was gonna say we can do a 12-hour blog about that.
We'd be fine.
We would be good.
So how many times in total have you done Sluice Boxes State Park now?
I don't know, probably a couple dozen, I would guess.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much an expert.
Now you're an expert. First time wasn't no.
Yeah.
No, not then.
So April's next month. Are you gonna go?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
You're gonna get in them waters,
I'm
or are you
thinking,
gonna?
yeah.
You're gonna.
The weather's been nice this year.
The thing you have to watch out for at the beginning there, right from Monarch, is the first 4 miles or so, there could be fences across the river.
Oh my God.
So you really have to kind of keep
your eye-
attention. You know, I mean, what you look for is basically the fence coming up to the river, because a lot of times you can't see the wire actually across. So you have to look for those clues and then make sure that you prepare yourself to get out if you need to and portage over.
So I recommend that our leisure travelers that come here.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
No, let's not
If
go
we
during.
if we
that time
put
frame.
in at Logging Creek, do we lose all the fences?
Yes.
Okay. There we go.
That's our answer.
And the other thing is when you do it later in the season, the water's going to be more forgiving, and it's just not going to be the same thing. So I definitely say if you don't know what you're doing, don't go when it's runoff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously. But
Which, should go without saying. But like I said, I did see twice a Coleman canoe wrapped around the entrance rocket.
But more
rock
importantly,
runner.
you went with people who said, "Oh no, we've done this in the
Yeah,
past.
right.
This is going to be great."
Yeah.
And
it was,
they surely
but-
wouldn't lead you to your death, and they didn't.
No.
They were good people, obviously.
Any more than the death march. you know?
That was not intentional either. So what tips do you have if you obviously have your own equipment, but if you don't have your own equipment, what could our listeners do?
Well, you can rent boats. I think Bighorn, you can rent them, and Shields too, right?
Yep.
And then you can rent canoes and stuff from Strobel's Rentals too.
Okay.
Oh, that's a nice insider tip.
Okay. And if you're military, the
Yes,
MWR
right, exactly, right.
has next to nothing rentals. So
So you can rent, you can bring your own, go in at Logging Creek.
Right.
Don't go in at Monarch unless you're seasoned and this is your 20th time down the water. and go later in the season. August is the recommendation from Roland, and make the commitment. If you get in, you're not going to be able to get out.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Once you get into the sluices itself, there's only certain points where you can get back out because the canyon,
Right. The walls go
the
straight
walls
up.
go straight up, right?
I mean, I love sluice boxes. I've hiked it only.
Yeah.
That's all I've done. So I don't think that whitewater kayaking, I'll get a hang of it someday, is in my future.
I would suggest if you're going to go kayak it, if you're on a sit on top kind of kayak, then you don't necessarily need to know how to roll or anything. But if you get into an actual whitewater boat with a spray skirt and everything, you definitely would help you to know how to roll that boat back up.
Another skill set you should have and be seasoned at.
Well, I'm typing up the content for a new website, and it's pretty much says at Great Falls you can have any kind of outdoor adventure here. And goodness, you're telling me I need to learn how to roll. Just proves that point that yep, any kind of experience can be had here.
You know, everyone knows how to roll halfway.
So you're already there. Build your confidence.
Halfway
you
there.
already
If you
know.
want, I'll sing a song to you by Journey.
So you've seen tubers, canoes, hopefully that made it past the rock, kayakers. Can you put in a raft at sluice
Yeah,
boxes?
a smaller raft. I mean, you wouldn't want a big giant raft because it's pretty narrow. So
Okay.
Okay. And then people have walked the trails. Obviously, there's portions of sluice boxes you can't see on the trails that you can only see in the water,
right.
which gives you a unique vantage point.
That's why you should have a camera or at least a GoPro so we can get these images next time. Because
Exactly.
we've both established that we're not doing it.
We may float on an inner tube.
Well, I want to tell you one more story, though.
Okay.
Not to scare anyone away, but as we came into where Logging Creek Road comes down, there's a group of houses there, or little cabins, whatever. And one time we came down there was a guy with big, long hair and no shirt on, big, husky guy. But his pet that was with him on a chain was a lion, an actual real-life lion,
Like with the Lion King.
a big lion. It was like,
There's not even
I thought-
lions in Montana.
I know, right? The guy had it, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, is that banjos I hear in the distance?
Are you a liar? Like,
No,
do you?
I swear to God, it's so true.
You have to expect everything at this point. If
Oh
you
my
see
goodness.
a dude with a lion, you'd be like, "Yep, I'm ready for anything now."
I'm ready for battle. Okay. All right. Well, I see why Matt's and Jolene keep you around.
The oddities come out of the woodwork with Roland around. The last question I have, if you're gonna do a kayak or a float in Sluice Boxes State Park, if you're a resident, there's no cost to go into the park.
Right.
Is there a special permit that you need to float?
No.
Perfect. So
Not yet, anyway.
non-residents, our state park system does require a $6 entrance fee, but if you are a Montana resident and you have Montana plates where you pay the extra $6 on your plate, then you get into the parks for no cost because it's already prepaid.
There you go.
Yes.
Well, Roland,
Any other stories you'd like to share? Random things you've witnessed in Sluice
Any other
Boxes
lions?
State Park? Tigers or bears?
are they roaming around?
Well, here's another thing, not to scare your viewers, but there was one year a log that had wedged itself all the way across the river.
Okay.
And basically what you had to do when you got to it, luckily it was not in a very extreme fast section of the river. And so when you got to it, you would have to actually get out of your boat, crawl over the top of it, and put back in again,
Oh my gosh.
which was an interesting maneuver because, I mean,
It's a
you're
wet.
kind of balancing a little bit on the log and it's wet. And,
Easier said than done.
right.
Goodness gracious. You know, Rebecca didn't like when I labeled this one winter podcast. I wanted to say like 100 Ways to Die in Great Falls. But man, you're telling me there's some danger in sluice boxes. We got lions, logs. And if you only know how to turn over or roll over halfway, you might be in trouble.
And you've seen bears from a distance.
Yeah, there's bears there. All right, Roland. Well,
Have you
just,
ever
just
camped?
do it in August and then
just doing.
just take your time, you know.
Have you ever camped in Sluice-Boxes State Park?
No.
Okay.
Well, yeah, actually I have. You know, now that I think
now
about
that
it.
you think about it.
Yeah, we hiked in from the top,
Okay.
past the waterfall and everything, and just kind of hiked there, just in a little ways, and then camped out kind of by the creek
Okay.
one night, and came back out again.
Perfect.
It's easy. It's beautiful too.
It is.
Yeah. One of my favorites.
Have you guys been down recently?
No.
Because they've done some work, and some of those bridge crossings from the old trestles that were pretty dilapidated, they've actually
Improved.
improved, and put in some good, decent crossings. So
Because they did that last summer, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. I've been
Yeah,
there
in
since then.
2019 it was closed because of the horrible conditions, but they're back open. So
Yeah, it's open.
And
ready.
there's cool tunnels back there that you can explore. And, oh, yeah, it's definitely worth hiking
Oh yeah.
and fun floating later.
well, that's what I really wanted because I've heard people talk about it, and I'm like, tell me more, and they're like, and then they like clam up like it's some illegal activity they did. Well, knowing my friends, it could likely be that situation, but yeah, finally getting someone to share their story of actually going on through Sluice-Boxes State Park on the Bell Creek. Oh, awesome.
They probably just don't want to share that they're in the canoe. The two people that you talk to are like, oh, we're the people that wrap the canoe around the rock.
We're the Coleman canoe people.
That's us.
That's likely the scenario.
Well, one year I did take some canoeists down there. They wanted someone to guide them, so me and another friend of mine took them down. They ended up, the one canoe with, it's actually the canoe club. It was the head person of the canoe club, whatever her name
President.
was. Yes, yeah, something like that, whatever. Anyway, she and her husband tipped over in there, lost a camera and some other stuff, and yeah, it was interesting because where they tipped, it was just cliffs, so we had to basically wrestle their boats and take them down to a point where they could get back in their boat, and they were pretty shook up.
Well, yeah, I fell out of a raft one time. And it was in a body of water. Like they did a safety briefing before we did this. And they said, if you fall out of the boat, just stay calm and stand up because it's not that deep. But it was still pretty swift. And I was the only one to fall out, which was pretty typical for me, I think.
When I was 9, my sisters dared me to jump out of a paddle boat in the Fox River, which has so many undertows in it. So I did. I'm fine, but my mom was running the shore screaming, like, get back in the boat. So I don't want to do things that make my mother scream again.
Well, just make sure she's not there.
Or that we share it on this podcast because then I don't want to get a call and get lectured for putting you in danger.
Yes. Pretty much. Me in the water, we don't do so well. So yeah, we'll be fine just looking at it.
Well, thank you, Roland. We will
Sure.
certainly have you back. I want to hear your take on the Death March. We might just have a Roland Matz hour where we share the story of the Death March
And you
and
know,
see.
on that thing, I should have been the one to know that once the car got stuck in the snow a mile or two before the put in, whatever.
You should have called it
Yeah,
off.
we should have not done it.
Come on. Yeah, we do need to have Matt's and Jolene back on now that they announced that they're moving to Bert and Ernie's for their Killer Geist intermission. So they need to let us know all the events they're going to be having there this summer. So
All we know from our podcast with them was Drink with a Shrink is back.
Oh, great.
Which-
yeah, that's my girlfriend, Trish McCoy.
Yeah.
oh,
And I love it because I went, and it is, you just put in questions, and Trish actually, because that's her occupation, is able to give you actual information.
Right, but it's all for fun. 'Cause
It is fun. It's not- yeah,
ethically, she can't
yeah.
do it for.
It's not like
Therapy,
she
but-
digs deep into your psyche or anything like that, but she gives good
Yeah.
advice,
I love that
recommendations.
idea. I love it so
Yeah.
much.
So it's a good time, and what people will share is pretty fun too. So
Thank you so much, Roland, for coming
bet.
in and
Thank
telling
you.
us your story, and we'll definitely have you back.
Okay.
So, Rebecca, did he really see a lion?
I'm going, yeah.
Here's your poll, people.
Because you did so well on the ghost poll at CM Russell Museum. You did.
And all the other ones we put out there. Well, we're getting feedback. So, one, we want to know if you think it's a lion or not. And the second one, if you're the person with the lion,
We'd love to have you in the studio.
we'll go on location there.
I want that in our podcast studio.
Let's bring the lion here. Hopefully there's some restraints, but we'll figure it out. It'll be a great photo, obviously. And then we share it, and everyone's like, what the heck is going on in Great Falls, Montana?
Now, trust us, we can't guarantee this is going to be an experience that could ever be replicated, because
No.
that's kind of the fun part of hearing these first-person stories is, that's a snapshot in time.
So we're going to share some previous stories that we shared on our Basecamp blog. But for example, my friend Alyssa, she went to Sluice Boxes, and she tells us, oh, yeah, we saw bears. From here to you to me. And I was like, what? She's like, it was a baby bear. I'm like, but Alyssa, the mom bear is not far away.
Right. Babies are the scary ones.
So little stories like that we want to capture, be able to share. So we're trying this out. And again, engagement, crucial. If you like this, we're going to continue. And if you have your own story that you would like to share about Great Falls and the adventure that you've had around Basecamp, please let us know. podcast@visitgreatfalls.org. Send us an email or comment on any of our Facebook posts, and we will reach out to you.
And they don't have to be long stories. They're stories you would tell, like at the aisle in the grocery store with someone, like, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe what happened. They'll be quick. We'd love them to be entertaining. If you know something about the subject matter you're talking about, or even if you're not an expert on the subject matter, that's fine.
You'll fit right in. Fit right in.
Do you know how many episodes we've done where we didn't know what we were talking about?
All of them. So I came back from vacation last week and I ran into Enya at the airport.
You did?
Yeah, and I was like, Enya, I know her. And then I go into the car and my husband's like, what's going on? And I'm like, I saw Enya. And he's like, who is she again? I'm like, well, I first heard of Enya because she wrote a blog for us that shared on our website when I first started working here, but also because she is a bartender at Killer Guys Pub Theater.
She is, and a former reporter for the Great Falls Tribune, and so she does a lot of exploring and adventuring in the area. And we wanted her to share with us the story of the time she went to Memorial Falls to
And-
get the perfect Instagram photo.
So we're gonna read this with some breaks in between. You'll figure it out. You'll know our flow because we're figuring it out too. So
Again, if you like it, you have to comment or we're not going to do these ever again.
okay, so I'm gonna start. Great. Now I have to read. I can't read. I've
It's
just meant
almost like maybe your school didn't do this, but
popcorn reading.
no, like when we were in elementary school, you'd read, and then at some point you'd say somebody else's name, and they had to pick up where you were reading.
That's popcorn.
Oh, I didn't know
you
it had a
didn't-
term.
You didn't know like where you're going, so you're trying to rush reading in front of everyone else. Like, please don't let there be a word
And
I don't
then-
know yet. So that's my entire life. I don't know how to read. I've just memorized a bunch of words, and hopefully, she's used one of the words that I've known. So, this one's called "The Short Hike to End All," or "The Short Hike of All Short Hikes." A place where you can chase serene. A place where you can chase serenity, take in a breath of fresh air, burn some calories, or attempt to capture that perfect naturistic shot, all in just 1 hour. It's a place of versatile beauty that continues to offer nature's true personality through the sunshine, rain, snow, and frost. This place is Memorial Falls, and it's a place I go often. Spring, summer, winter, and fall. So you can see she's a writer.
A lot of flowery words.
Yes.
The short 1 hour round trip hike right off of Highway 89 offers 2 waterfalls, which I did not know. Panoramic views of sky-touching trees accompanied by the faint, flowing sounds of Belt Creek. Memorial Falls is an intermediate hike for all ages, skill levels, and doggos.
Dogs. Puppies.
However, although intermediate, I managed to take a tumble, leaving me with a pretty memorable scar on my back.
So, Memorial Falls, it's a short distance past Sluice Boxes State Park. And yeah, it's off Highway 87. So when I read this, that she's got a scar, and now that I know Enya, I'm like, yeah, she did. She continues to say, I would say it was of my own clumsiness, and I'm going to agree with that, Enya, that dropped me down below the fallen trees stretching across the second waterfall, but it was just for the shot. If you're a photographer, videographer, visual storyteller, or your eyes just appreciate all the aspects of the world around you, you know what I mean. The shot.
I've never had this desire, but
What are you talking about? Rebecca has an amazing photo of Memorial Falls.
I did climb. Yeah.
She knows what she's taking. The Memorial Falls, the waterfall, in all seasons, we share that a lot on our Instagram. It's one of our repeat images just because it's different every time. People learn where to pose.
Well, and there's so many angles.
Yeah.
I digress. Back to the story. You'd go to any length, play your own little game of Twister, lay down in the dirt, walk through thigh-deep snow, wade in knee-deep water, or even end up in some random position that makes you realize you need to go to the gym because your core is shaking like you're colder than a witch's tit in a brass bra.
So we shared this post last year, February 2020, and the comments we got about the brass bra, the witch's tit in a brass bra. I've never heard that expression before.
Oh, I've heard it all my life.
So you either know it or you don't. And then the thigh deep snow, if you listen to like one of our first 2 episodes, I talk about how I went to Memorial Falls, did not wear snowshoes, was in yoga pants.
Completely prepared for your hike, huh?
0 gloves. And I waded through that. I wanted to get the shot.
Well, everyone does it. You'd do it all for the perfect photograph, as Madi has just shown us. That perfectly captured video moment, that perfect view. This day, my attempt to capture the shot resulted in me falling into the waterfall with cold water flowing under my bum as I laughed my pain off and begged for my friend's helping hand. And this friend, yep. My friend, of course, refused because they were too busy laughing, which is like every one of the friends I have.
And us, too.
Yeah, we wouldn't have been helpful at all.
And when we describe hikes in the area, we're like, oh, no, you can do it. And then Enya comes down and she's like, you can do it, but here's how you don't fall. So how can you avoid the same fall? Well, don't attempt to walk across the skinniest of the fallen trees while holding 2 cameras while filming with one. Thankfully, I held my camera above my head as I fell in slow motion. When I finally finished my landing, stuck the landing. I passed them off to my friend. Always protect your camera in all circumstances. Unfortunately, I missed the shot, but my friend did it, seeing as there's a photo of me struggling to free myself. Isn't that the perfect friend? She's in pain, and she has a scar, and there you go.
And she's being rushed over with cold, freezing water.
On the bum.
Let me just get this photo quick.
And they have a photo of me struggling, trying to free myself. I may have not gotten the perfect shot, but I did get a perfect memory. I did wake up with quite the sore back and a scratch traveling halfway up my back, and it's one of my favorite Montana moments.
Which I think just goes to tell when things go drastically not the way you wanted, and you fall and you trip and you stumble and you end up with a black eye for some reason because you ran into a tree branch. The memories are still good.
They are still good. And when we were talking about sharing like photos of fishing, we're like, what are the ones where you're like dropping the fish or the fish is super small? Well, don't those stick out? Aren't those more relatable? Because whenever I catch a fish, I don't hold it properly and it takes a few times. And by then my husband's like, put it back in the water.
I have a picture of my husband with the world's smallest perch. It's so tiny.
My mom took that photo of the same one of my dad and framed it and captioned it, the one that got away. So Enya closes it up with, I hope you enjoy the coziest atmosphere of Memorial Falls as much as I do. If you haven't been there yet, I hope it becomes your short hike of all short hikes.
Now, Enya's blog is on our website, so you can see the picture of her flailing.
And she's smiling.
Yeah, she is actually having a good time.
Yeah, it's a great hike, Memorial Falls. Like she said, an hour. It's a loop long, and any season you see it, because the waterfall freezes, and then that's just.
So, did I just miss the first waterfall that's before Memorial Falls, or is this not a real waterfall? It's like water dripping off of a log, and
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to, find out for myself come May when.
I do have a picture of my last hike up there that has some water flowing over like a beaver dam. It's not a beaver dam, but just a bunch of pile of stuff.
But you have a
And
photo.
it looks like a waterfall. There's water falling.
So, Enya's one of our, I would say, a champion. If I had any questions or if I wanted, a spruce of an itinerary, I might, shoot her a message and be like, hey, what would you do?
Yeah.
What would you bring about? So she is also a bartender at Killer Guys because they're always entertaining. So she probably tells people some stories like when they come back from their hikes at Memorial Falls, like, oh yeah, this one time I went there. And, like lifts her shirt. Here's
Look at my scar. Who doesn't do that?
I don't.
Honestly.
I do it all the time, but like I said, just came back from vacation and I told my friend, I'm like, I have a bruise on my butt, bigger than my butt. And sure enough, had a shower. So everyone shows their war wounds.
And so if somebody just happens to go, oh, you want to see my scar? The only appropriate response is sure. I'd love to
Yes.
see it no matter where it's at. If they're comfortable enough to show it, I think you have to be comfortable enough to look at it.
So other stories that I want people to come in and share is like the winner or loser of the mannequin jump. I would love to get that content, because I Showdown closed in the beginning of April, but that memory of Avery telling me of what they do there, I still think about it. Like, what should I have done? I also want to know someone who did Beyond the Dam race.
Oh, yeah.
That's returning this summer. I want to know what they did because Rebecca shared her story of being able to walk on there after the
Yeah.
riders were done.
Because I'm not doing the race.
I'm not either. I'll be there to take photos. And then the people that ski junk skajor. I want them to come here.
We should.
So then they can do the skajoring during Christmas time.
So I have a lead on that. We could easily bring them in. And he also does car racing.
Perfect.
Some type of special kind of car racing. I'm sorry, James, I don't remember what kind it is. But he does both those things.
So I want to know these stories. Come
Okay.
on in. And, one day, if maybe not in the too far distant future, we'll have Piano Pat on and she'll tell us some of her snippet of stories.
She should just write a book.
She should.
And FYI, Pat, we know you probably won't sit down and write a book, but we'll give you all the studio time and the podcast you need, and then we'll write the book for you.
Yes, we can get the software for it.
I'm sure it's simple. I mean, I haven't gotten a twisty chair yet, but I'm sure writing a book is a heck of a lot easier than getting a twisty chair.
Jason says you can't have a twisty chair because you're going to swivel away from the mic too much.
Yeah, I think if I confirm, if my historic ability to stay in front of the mic position correctly, he might let me get one. So,
Well,
that's my hope.
we'll see. So if you did like these short stories that we shared, the one from Memorial Falls and the whitewater kayaking, because I kept calling it rafting, and I guess that's not it.
Well, no, it was in a kayak, not a raft.
Well, to me, it's the same thing. You're in the water going down. So if you do like these stories, please let us know. Just comment below. Tell your friend, hey, remember that unbelievable story you told me last year? You should tell these people at tourism. Again, that's podcast at visitgreatfalls.org.
And if you are in love with We're No Damn Experts, and this is your first episode, we got a lot more for you to listen to. You can find all of our episodes at we'renodamnexperts.com. You can also find them on any one of your podcast libraries that you might participate in. And you could subscribe, rate, and review, because I've told that really helps us out.
It does. And if you want a sticker to support us, just let me know, and we'll get you one.
Yeah, because they're cute. You can have the cute little one. You can have a bigger one.
You can have full size. We got them all. So thanks for listening. Again, let us know. Like you've been hounded. We're starting to nag. Okay, Rebecca, let's close it up.
So until we see you here in Great Falls, we hope you're creating amazing memories wherever you are, and we can't wait to see you soon in Great Falls.
Bye-bye.
We're No Dam Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing dam town. Damn, that felt good.
On the next episode of We're No Dam Experts, Rebecca and Madi tell you all the details about the Greatest Dam Mimosa Showdown and how you could have a limo chauffeur you around during the event. We're No Dam Experts was produced by Great Falls, Montana Tourism with original music from the best dam musician, Joel Corda.